A Trip to Greece, Solangelo AU, by Prettiestpivvo, Chapter 12. Nico's point of view. Last night, Will and I had both been tired, so we hadn't done much. We had seen our friends for dinner, spent some time on our phones, then went to bed at around 9 p.m. We would be out for 9 hours today, so we had both decided getting more sleep would be better. Lester's party was also today. We got up the next morning at 8 a.m. and once again met our friends for breakfast. Everyone was there but Thalia, who had to leave here at 8:30 a.m. for her group. Percy was talking to the others about the party. Are you all going? We have a free day tomorrow, which means we can sleep in, and the party will be so much fun. Feel like I haven't been at one in ages, he said. I suppose we do have Monday free. Okay, why not? Annabeth shrugged. Percy fist bumps the air. Jason spoke next. Oh, come, bro. I'll come by, but if it's boring as fuck, which it may well be, I'll be leaving, Piper remarked. I can watch out for any of you idiots in case you get a little under the influence. Will's voice hit my ears from the left, startling me. I'd forgotten he was there. Such a gentleman, I mocked. I'll come. Unlike you, Percy, I actually haven't been to a party in ages. Percy turned away from where he had been facing Annabeth to roll his eyes at me. Why had he been looking at Annabeth? I'll come as well, but I agree with Piper, Raina commented. We finished our breakfast soon after and all began to drift off to meeting places for our groups. The whole day went by pretty quick, despite the heat and the time we spent exploring. Octavian had only bothered Will once, and I had death stared him. Soon enough, we had gotten back to the hotel. Will and I walked side by side through the stretching corridor that led to our room. I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. I pulled it out and took a quick peek at the time. 7:20 p.m. before inspecting what had caused the alert. A message sat at the bottom of my screen from a number that wasn't saved in my phone. I pressed on it and it opened to a text with party details. The number was obviously Lester. I scanned their writing quickly. Party starts at 8 p.m. Will. Room 65 on the second floor. I tilted my hand slightly to see his face. Great, we have some time to get ready. Thank God, he chuckled. I reek like a biodegrading rat carcass. I laughed. Exactly. Dips for a shower. Hey! We unlocked our room, and I grabbed a pair of shorts, a light grey t-shirt, and a black short-sleeved flannel. I made my way into the bathroom and locked the door, starting the shower. I got out 5 minutes later, feeling a lot better, especially after a quick splash of cold water to end it. I changed quickly before combing my hands through my hair to make sure it didn't look too much like a bird's nest. I unlocked the door and stepped out. The air-conditioned room was a drastic change to the humidity of the steam-filled bathroom after a hot shower. Will moved from where he was on his phone, putting it down on his nightstand and walking into the bathroom. Geez, a bit steamy in here, he muttered. Suck it up, buddo, he snorted, then closed and locked the door. He came out another few minutes later, and good God, he had no right to look that gorgeous. Will wore a loose button-up white shirt with a pair of light blue shorts. Now, you may be thinking, Nico, that is a pretty normal outfit. Shut up, he looked majestic, with rays of sunlight shining on him from the windows. Luckily, I pulled my mouth up from where it had dropped to before Will could see it. What time is it? He asked. Oh, it's. I dragged out the S as I fumbled with my phone, my gay panic session confusing my muscles. The phone was turning on, and then I kept turning it off when pressing the on button. 7:38. Okay, let's go over at like 7:55. He suggested, smiling, and then picking up his phone again. It took me a second to register the question. Yep, sounds good. We arrived at exactly 8. Lester was near the door, the party already in full swing. We quickly said happy birthday and thank you for having us to the scrawny boy, and then made our way to where I could see Percy and Annabeth chatting. The others mustn't have got here yet. Hey guys, Annabeth called over the noise of the music. Hey, Will exclaimed. God, it's dark in here. I think I stepped on 5 feet coming over here. Annabeth laughed. I know, right? The two continued chatting, Percy chipping in every once in a while, sipping on a Diet Coke. Percy had refused to touch alcohol since his abusive, alcoholic stepfather. I didn't drink alcohol often, but when I did, it was oddly nice. It quietened my mind, only allowing the noise of the party and the people around me to enter my train of thought. I'm gonna go grab a drink quickly. Does anyone want anything? I asked, pointing my thumb over my shoulder at the small drink selection I spotted making our way to our friends. I'm good. Thanks, Nico, said Annabeth. Got my Coke, Percy announced. Yeah, I'll have beer, please. Will grinned at me. I nodded and walked off. Will's point of view. We had been here since 8, and it was now 12:30 a.m. Nico had delivered me my drink, and over the course of the night, I had sipped at it. It still tasted far too bitter for my liking. I didn't understand people who could take large mouthfuls of it at a time. It burned in an unpleasant way, though. Is there a pleasant way for your mouth to burn? I checked my phone once again at this time. I checked my phone once again, checking the time. I was getting tired as fuck, and I think I looked a little loony standing by myself. Jason and Piper had arrived, so had Raina and Thalia, and I had talked to them for a little while. Raina and Thalia had been the first to leave. I could somehow hear Piper telling Jason she was going to leave soon as well, asking whether or not he wanted to come with her. It suddenly made me wonder where Nico was. I had seen him a few times throughout the night, since the room was fairly small and there were a lot of people in here, so it wasn't hard to occasionally spot someone, but I hadn't seen him for about half an hour. I decided it would be a smart idea to make sure he hadn't killed someone, or himself, so I began to search the room. He wasn't at the bar, not with Percy and Annabeth, who were dancing goofily together. So cute. The only place I hadn't checked was the bathroom. I shoved my way through the throng of the crowded dance floor, looking for Nico on my way through, to no avail, and to the door in the corner, which hadn't been acknowledged much tonight. I knocked on the door. Nico? I heard someone moving behind the door. I had to wait a second before I heard a quiet voice. Yeah, the voice said. It was slurred and muffled by the door and the noises of the party, but I would hear the slightest tone of Nico in the voice. Can I come in? I asked, my ear pressed against the door to hear the response. Mm-hmm, Nico answered. I sighed and pushed the door open. The Ravenet was kneeling in front of the toilet, and the room definitely had a tinge of vomit stench to it. Poor Nico. He had been alone in here for God knows how long. Throwing up and drunk. I felt so bad. Jeez, Nico, are you okay? I hurried over to kneel next to him. Perfectly fine, sunshine. His eyes brightened. Oh my god, well, that rhymed. He got cut off when his face chipmunked and he leaned over the toilet bowl. Shit, I whispered. I stood up swiftly, stood behind Nico, pulled his long, inky black hair from his face, and turned my head away from where he was vomiting. Thank you, the boy muttered, reaching up to flush the contents of his stomach away. He fell backwards and leaned into my legs, resting his body against me. A small smile crept to my face. The boy was sweating. Even with the cooler temperatures the hotel room had been set to, Nico closed his eyes, his breathing soft. Nico? I leaned down and muttered, I'm going to take you back to our hotel room, okay? Okay, he mumbled, opening his eyes. I first looked around the bathroom for some kind of bag, finding some trash can liners under the sink and handing it to Nico. If you need to throw up while we head back, do it in that, okay? Nico nodded, then closed his eyes again to rid of what I assume was a dizzy smell. All good. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I kneeled and scooped Nico off the ground, carrying him bridal style. He squeezed his eyes shut, lifting the bag a fraction closer to his mouth. As we were leaving the room, I ran into Jason, telling him Nico had consumed far too much alcohol and we were going back to our room. He just nodded. We reached the hall without further delay. I made my way speedily, but carefully up a flight of stairs, because even though an elevator would have been quicker, I knew Nico would feel sick going up that thing, even with the bag. I'd rather he didn't throw up. I made it to the room, scanning the keycard to unlock the door, and opened it with some difficulty. I sat Nico on the bed and found a change of pants that were would be much more comfortable sleeping than jorts. I let him change while I grabbed the bin from the bathroom to put next to Nico's bed. He was changed and under the covers when I returned, eyes once again closed. I smiled. I pushed his hair back from his forehead again so he knew I was there, possibly only excuse to touch his hair. One of his eyes opened ever so slightly. Do you need anything before you sleep? I asked softly. Water? Food? Nico shook his head very slightly. I caught it though. I ran my fingers across his forehead, then pulled away my hand to get changed into comfortable sleeping attire. Well, I tried to pull my hand away at least. A pale hand shot out from under the duvet at lightning speed, gripping my hand in his. Don't leave, Nico croaked. Both eyes were open now, and they were staring at me like nothing else mattered, like he hadn't been vomiting minutes ago. I hesitated. Drunk Nico was a no-nonsense type of guy, unlike sober Nico. I'm just getting changed, then I'll be right back. I promise. I promised. Nico clung to my wrist for another moment, brows furrowed as as he contemplated my reliability. Fine, he grumbled. I scurried off and changed, then climbed into the bed beside Nico. I laid far enough from him that he had enough space. I closed my eyes, then I felt something warm moving closer, trying to press into my chest. I opened my eyes which met the top of Nico's head. I looked down at the face of my sleepy boy. Thank you, he murmured. I really like you well. A smile graced my lips. I really like you too, Nico. The ravenet looked up at me. No, I mean I really like you. I was confused. I tensed. This couldn't mean there was no way. Nico, what? I was cut off by the sounds of heavy breathing. I looked at Nico, and he was fast asleep. Shit. I couldn't wake him and demand answers. I would have to wait till morning. Then again, it could just be the alcohol flowing through his system. But a small part of me flared with hope. Maybe Nico had been telling the truth.